Saturday, the Experts Program kicks off. That means Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, is on the line with us. Luis, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Mark. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Here we are in 2021. Lots to talk about technology-wise. And, of course, one of the biggest events in technology every year, and certainly a huge event in the first quarter of the year, is CES, Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. In fact, you were telling me off the air that CES is one of the two largest events that they have in Las Vegas every year. And this year, there's a big change. It is going to become a virtual event this year, no in-person attendance. First off, how are they going to do this? And secondly, what's the impact going to be?
Well, fortunately, there are a number of platforms that have been developed over the last 10 months that we've been in some form of shelter in place or lockdown that make these kind of online conventions possible. And the experience is pretty good in the sense that you can target what you attend, and mostly all these things, these sessions and big reveals can still happen, but they're just digital now, and you're not wading through a crowd and trying to find a hot dog or soda at some kiosk in order to get to the next session and hear about some new products. So I think the experience for people that are attending that are super interested in what the new technologies will be revealed, like me, will still be similar. But for the looky-loos, the people that just go for the glitz and the glamour and the excitement of wandering through the halls, obviously that's not going to be there anymore. Mm-hmm. Poor Vegas, this is their big moneymaker at the beginning of the year, and it's just not going to happen this year for them.
This is going to be very bad for the hotels, for the casinos, for anybody involved in hospitality, because it's an event that helps a lot of people through the first quarter of the year, which is, typically a slow down time. Just like the AT&T Pro-Am is really a big boost to the economy for the Monterey Peninsula during the first quarter of the year, and this year there won't be any fans allowed in attendance. Going back to the CES, it's going to be virtual. You'll be able to watch it online. Are you going to have to pay to watch it online? And will there be enough bandwidth for millions of people to watch it online?
Well, if you registered early enough, they sent out registrations back in early November. And at the time, it's free through the end of the year. Now there's a nominal fee, I think, of $99 if you want to register before next week when the event kicks off. But most people probably will be attending for free. They'll have either registered during that period of time, or they'll have some sort of coupon code that a manufacturer or vendor have sent them. So I expect that the money for attending is not really where CES makes its revenue. They get it from all the vendors who attend, who pay for the privilege of being there. And to some extent, they'll still be doing that. Obviously not the same as they have paid for a live event, but you'll still see some good things. And I think there's going to be some interesting reveals next week for sure.
Hey, when you've attended the CES, what is the demographic breakdown? Is it largely a young group like under 40, or is it 40 to 60-year-olds, 30 to 50-year-olds? How does it break down?
I would say in the last, I've been attending for over a decade now, and back at the beginning, it was largely an older crowd. I'd say probably 50 plus, but I would say when I went last year, it was a fairly young crowd. There was probably, I'd say, a number of people in their 20s, late 20s, early 30s. Okay. And that really reflects the startup culture that we have now, where you're seeing a lot of technology companies popping up all over the place, not just in Silicon Valley, but all over the world. And they all come into CES to show their wares. Right. And these companies are usually started by young entrepreneurs, and they're there with their friends and their buddies and trying to get some attention from the attendees.
Is it still a male-heavy event?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Technology has always been, unfortunately, a very male-dominated event or, male-dominated industry, and that's still the same. However, I will say that in terms of demographics, there's a lot of diversity in the crowd, especially, a lot of Asians coming from the Far East and Indians and, just kind of a melting pot of people, but still largely male.
And I guess one of the other things in not having an in-person event in Las Vegas this year, one thing that will change is not having people in attendance, which means that the women who ply the world's oldest profession will not be in Vegas in the same numbers that they've been in the past. I mean, the reality is, and we've joked about this in the past, but this is one of the biggest events of the year for these people. And apparently women travel not only travel from all over the U.S., but all over the world to come to CES because that's where the business is. So these folks are going to be left out this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough year for them too.
They don't talk about that. When you look at the economic fallout of this, it really does cut across every level of society. So just the world we're living in right now with the pandemic.
Yep, that's the new reality, hopefully to be behind us sometime in the middle of this year. But for the time being, we're still there.
Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, our guest today here on Power Talk Radio. Online, it's alvareztg.com, @AlvarezTG. That's the Twitter handle. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.